What would elephants in Call of the Wild be like? Would we get it with Africa 2.0? Would they need to add a bunch of stuff before being able to add them? That is stuff that we will all answer today, and I will kind of talk you guys through everything that I've been thinking in relation to the possibility of elephants in the future, since that's one of the most requested species to be added. I think it's no secret that at this point, there's a very large portion of the community that would love to see elephants get added to the game at some point. But there is definitely a lot of considerations to think about before continuing to want something like an elephant in the game. There's a lot of things that they would have to do before adding something like that, and then a lot of also things to consider that they kind of believe as a company. Imagine that this isn't Virunga Savannah. Imagine that we are walking through a brand new map called Africa 2.0. Now imagine you turn to the right and you see a giant elephant rushing through the bushes in front of you. That would honestly be a pretty incredible feeling, and I really hope that one of these days we do get to experience that. But there's definitely some things that they would have to do before, so let's get into those, because there's a lot of different things to consider. And the very first one is just the sheer size of an elephant. This is something that would require a lot of changes to the game before being added, as well as just being a very tall task to develop. We gotta think this would be the most insanely large animal they would have ever attempted to create in the game. It would be much larger than most animals, so it would require quite different animations. It would be the biggest model they've ever added for an animal, and also I imagine the AI would have to be quite different from that we see with other species in the game. Another thing that I try to consider that I've been telling people for quite some time is that if they ever wanted to add in elephants, this would require a brand new trophy lodge, because the current lodges just do not have a large enough ceiling to actually be able to fit an elephant comfortably. And I think a lot of the hallways aren't as wide as they would need to be either. So that is one of the first things that they would have to do to even add something like that into the game. We would need a brand new trophy lodge. And that is something that usually would take a few months of work to actually even get into the game, so that would make it so most likely it wouldn't be the next map if they were to add something like lions in. Another thing to consider is the fact that we currently don't have a gun that could comfortably take down an elephant. Now, a lot of you have pointed out that we have the 470 in the game, and sure, you could definitely use a 470 for a lion, but the problem is the 470 in Call of the Wild is just not powerful enough. I mean, it can barely get a double lung on a Cape Buffalo and take it down in less than like 20 seconds. You can get the double lung and you can definitely take them down, but they don't drop very quickly, and I can just imagine that the case would be even worse with an elephant. There's no way the 470 in its current state could ever take down an elephant, so they would need to add a new rifle into the game as well, something like the 700 Nitro Express, which would, again, be another thing that they would have to add before being able to add in the elephant. And honestly, what sparked this video was the amount of different people that I see want this type of an animal in the game. They want to see the elephants, and I do too. I definitely would love to see them one of these days, but there's a lot of things that I feel just don't get taken into consideration. So that's what I kind of wanted to do today, was go over those things, because I don't really think anybody's ever done that before in a video. Hey, you watching this video right now, you're not subscribed to the channel, and you're enjoying the content and you've watched it this far, consider subscribing. It helps out the channel a ton, and if you watch this far, you're clearly enjoying the video. So, do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button right now and ring that bell so that you guys will never miss another video. Now, let's get back to the action. Another thing to think of is how elephants are actually hunted in real life. This is a very common thing that I hear people say whenever elephants are brought up in my stream. There's always at least a few people that reply with, elephants aren't legal, you can't hunt them, so they wouldn't put them in the game. That is not necessarily completely true. Now, there's definitely some places where you're not allowed to, and in general, you can't just go out and hunt an elephant. You can't just buy a tag and hunt an elephant. There is a lot more that goes into it. In a lot of cases, elephants are a very limited thing. You won't be able to just go and get a tag anytime that you want. This is something that will cost, if I'm not mistaken, tens of thousands of dollars, and it's in very limited stock. And typically when you go on these elephant hunts, you're not going out there just to find an elephant. You're going out there for a specific bull elephant that is a mature bull that is past its prime and is no longer breeding, because at that point they're pretty much just causing trouble for the younger bulls and will actually kill them, which will, in turn completely diminish the chance of that thing ever being able to breed and creating more baby elephants. So That's one of the things that a lot of people don't understand, is that you can hunt elephants. It's just very expensive, very limited, and you're going after specific bulls. You're not going for just any old elephant. There may be some instances that I'm overlooking, but I'm kind of just going off of the info that I know about, and obviously I've never dug through every inch of the internet to find if there's maybe some other ways to do it. I've done enough to get an idea of how it works, but I'm sure there could be the chance that there's other ways to hunt them, but as far as I know, that is the primary way that you get a chance to hunt down elephants. If any of you watching this video have ever gone on an elephant hunt or know somebody that did, or maybe live in Africa where you can kind of get a better idea of what that's like, and maybe you've lived around it and lived around people that have done it, let me know some more information about that down in the comments, because I would definitely love to learn as much as I can so that we can add to this video in like a pinned comment. And so now we come to my final thing that I wanted to talk about here, is the fact that EW in many different instances has talked about how they don't want to add anything that could be controversial into the game. Now, there's been a few times where they've completely gone back on that and added stuff like lions to the game, so it is a little bit questionable as to whether or not they will stick to that sentiment throughout their development cycle. I mean, they've added ARs into the game recently, and they told us that they wouldn't do that a while back, and then they finally did after people wanted it more. So I guess that it's possible that they would go against what they've said before about elephants, but in the past they have stated that they don't want to add in elephants because of the fact that it can be seen as a controversial thing to hunt, and they don't want to attract negative attention to their game through controversy from adding something like elephants in. So that's another thing that probably will prevent us from ever getting elephants, but the more we go in, the further we go in Call of the Wild's life cycle, the more I think that it's definitely possible that that could change. Like I said, we've got lions, we've got ARs in the game. Who's to say that we won't eventually get a elephant? It's definitely something that could happen, though I'd say in the current state of Call of the Wild, it's unlikely that it will be anytime soon. So if we do end up getting ourselves an Africa 2.0 in the next couple maps, then very high chance that it will not have something like an elephant like a lot of people want it to have. And I know I said that was the last point, but I actually did want to say one more thing. I do think it is possible they could add another member of the Big Five that isn't the elephant. I actually think that the leopard would be a really good option for another member of the Big Five. I believe leopards are probably the least controversial of all the animals that are part of the Big Five. I know that stuff like the rhinos and the cheetahs and things like that would definitely be a lot more controversial if they were to add them. And also, I think, for the most part, you really can't hunt a cheetah. Although, I could be completely wrong on that, but I feel like cheetahs and rhinos just really aren't hunted that much compared to stuff like the lions and the leopards. Again, could be wrong on that, just going off of what I know, but let me know down in the comments if there's anything you guys can add to that. I definitely think that we will eventually end up getting an Africa 2.0. I just feel like it's not going to have everything that people wanted to have. It very well may have some requested species like the greater kudu, maybe the eland and the nyala, and stuff like the leopard and hyenas and things like that, but I doubt it will have something like the elephant, sadly. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. This was kind of more of just like a talking video, not really a lot of hunting, just kind of explaining my thoughts on elephants, and this way I have some sort of video to point people to when they ask me questions about the elephants, and you guys can point your friends to this video as well if they have questions about whether we'll get elephants in the Hunter Call of the Wild. Thank you all for being here. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a sub as well as leaving a like and a comment down below. And if you're not already, please hit that notification bell on the channel, as that will help you guys see these videos and streams quicker whenever I post them. Without that, it's just up to chance whether or not you'll see my video in your feed. So thank you all for being here, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace!